Hey, this is Nicole Kernohan with Elevated Worldwide. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I got an awesome sauce interview with my good friend, Nicole Kernohan. She is a little spitfire that is a fantastic coach. She was the one that will kind of hold that mirror in front of you and help you realize and lean into your ultimate human potential. She's with Elevated Worldwide. I have 3 pages of notes here, and I know that if you really shut off everything, really internalize and kind of listen to what she's saying, the knowledge nuggets she drops are absolutely life-changing. She is somebody that I respect immensely. She rocks the stage. She has 2 awesome giveaways at the end, so please stay tuned to them. And also, if you like it, or somebody that's maybe a little bit struggling a little bit in life right now, this would be a episode that you might want to pass on to them. Share it with them. We're on all the directories and whatnot, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, across the board. So also, if you do like it, please subscribe or like. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. So without further ado, here's my really good friend from Elevated Worldwide, Nicole Kernohan. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got introduced by my awesome sauce friend, Nicole Kernohan, here by another really good friend of mine, Fred Moskowitz. And the second that we got introduced and we booked the podcast, Nicole went out and put an Instagram post saying she's coming on the show. I've had it done before, but it was like so professional. It was so super cool. And I'm so blessed because me and she's like my sister from another Mr. Squad out there. You were both level up mindset coaches, and she's a high performance coach and chief operating officer of the international coaching company Elevated Worldwide. She trains and empowers business leaders, sales leaders, and entrepreneurs to use the power of the mind to achieve true transformation. After an episode of MS, partially paralyzed her in 2003, she began an in-depth study of the mind and body and has lived healthy for 20 plus years. She also has 20 years of experience in entrepreneurship and corporate business. Nicole has been featured, get this, Squad, Forbes, Success, and other platforms, and as an expert in positive psychology. And Nicole, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is yellow.
Yellow. Love it.
Yeah, unique, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the color of the sun.
It feels like it's out there. And I'm in South Florida, and the sun is not out today because we have all your guys from Toronto pushing down on us right now. Just kidding. Awesome. So Nicole, we wrapped a little bit off mic and stuff, but tell me a little bit about the roots that you have, where you kind of came from, and also into a little bit of that MS story and how you use that positive mindset to really crush that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Scott. And what a beautiful introduction. Thank you. It is interesting, my journey. I was born in Toronto. So I was born and raised in Mississauga, just outside of Toronto. And I lived a normal childhood up until I was age 20 while I was in university for business. And which is when I had the MS episode. So I became paralyzed on the right side out of nowhere, knocked me off my tracks. You just don't expect something like that to happen. But that really was the moment for me where I realized I was different. You talked about positivity and leveling up. And this is, I knew that was kind of who I was. I was a positive person, generally speaking. But an episode like that or an experience like that, where most people would turn into fear, worst case scenario, learning all the what my future could look like the victim mindset, which is understandable.
Sure.
I actually immediately went the other way.
Good.
My family thought I was naive. I don't think she heard the doctor. I don't think she heard when they said you might not regain functionality. You might be paralyzed forever. We hope you will recover, but we can't confirm that. It's like I didn't hear it. I heard the words. I remember hearing the words, and it immediately went out. So that was a pivotal moment for me. And that perspective, that mindset shifted my healing, my trajectory, right? It shifted how I was able to get through that experience very quickly.
Did you mix kind of holistic with medical research together, along with the power of the positive mindset, to kind of like hit it from like 3 different angles? Or were you just one way or the other?
No, it's cool, Scott, because I didn't know what I know now. I didn't know, I hadn't yet studied positive psychology at all.
Right, right,
Was just graduating university where I had a business degree. So my
right,
background was in business. I hadn't studied health or nutrition or holistic anything.
right.
So it was more, I did do all three, but it was
Okay.
more by default, not because like not as intentional, if that makes sense.
No,
Now
I feel
looking
you.
back, I would do
Yeah,
it. If I was doing it again, I would be intentional about it.
yeah.
At the time, it was just, I know I'm going to heal and I will
Love it.
find any possible way. And I'm open to anything. I would never turn something away. I just was like, I'll try that. If that doesn't work, I'll try that. And
Yeah.
it ended up including a very broad holistic approach. So
What I hear in that is like so many people think, oh, I have lack of resources, right? But it's really lack of being resourceful that stops
yeah,
people in their tracks, right? And that's you just became resourceful. And you were 20 years old, like
yeah,
2 decades on
21.
this earth only. So, like, where did you get your family felt you're naive? I'm sure they just loved you to death, and that's why they were feeling that way. But like what clicked for you? What was that moment? What was that eureka? What was that moment that said, dude, I'm going to flip the mindset? I understand you're backed into a corner, you have no choice, but like what was it? Do you remember what you were thinking, where you're sitting? What was the atmosphere like when you really realized that?
I will preface by saying my parents are entrepreneurs. They've run businesses for
Love it.
most of my life. My grandparents
Okay.
have.
So you
So
see
this idea of
that.
being resourceful,
Yeah.
I did have that modeled in my life.
Beautiful.
There
That's
was a lot of
awesome.
struggle at the beginning for them starting a business, and
Yeah.
they became extremely resourceful. So I did get a modeling of there's always a solution. There's no problem. Nothing,
Sure.
not a problem. It's just an opportunity for a solution. So I would say I was raised with a bit of that perspective, which I'm super grateful for. And you know what, Scott, it's interesting. I would say it is who I am. Today, I like to help people remember who they are, that dig in and peel off the limiting beliefs and those layers and
Sure.
find out who that is. It always has been who I was
Love it.
optimistic.
Did you
Like
play
that
sports?
I did martial arts. I know you
Okay.
said you did.
Yeah.
I did karate for 10 years.
That can help. Absolutely. That
Um,
brings it forward. Absolutely.
that was
Okay.
probably the biggest piece for me that brought that again, that same perspective, right? Because martial arts definitely allows you to step into mind over body, like
Yeah.
realizing how much potential is inside of you and being able to find solutions and be creative.
Love it.
So,
So how did that roll over into coaching? I mean, fast forward a little bit,
yeah.
a lot of it, whatnot, but like, how did really coaching kind of come into your life?
So after my MS episode, I did all the things, which is a story for another day. Although I'm happy to share if anyone
Yeah,
listening wants to ask my protocols personally for my own
yeah,
personal experience.
sure.
I'm not a medical professional, but after that, when I regained functionality and started moving forward, I actually got into business. Sorry, I was already working in corporate, but I started working in corporate. After corporate, I opened a retail business in the
Hmm.
health field because I
Okay.
believed that my healing came from health. So I had this passion to be an entrepreneur and a passion to be a health professional. So I
Right.
opened a retail health business and I became a nutritional practitioner, which is you probably don't even know this about me because that's not who I am today.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I discovered in this field of helping people with their health was that the foundation I stumbled into a seminar. Sorry, let me just step back a second. I stumbled into a
Please
seminar
take your
with Bob
time, Nicole.
Proctor.
Yeah. Proctor. Nice.
um,
Okay.
and that's that was 10 years ago now. So I'm on this journey. I worked in corporate. I opened a health food store. I'm helping people with their health and I'm loving it. And in my head, I'm thinking, I found it. Like I've matched up my life experience of healing MS and my background in business. And now
Yeah.
I'm a business in health. Like we're in.
Right.
And then I stumbled into positive psychology seminar with Bob
Ooh.
Proctor.
Ooh.
And
Love it.
then I was like, wait, hold on. Light bulbs, the light comes on in a dark room. I'm like doing cartwheels, looking around. Like, why doesn't everybody else know this?
Right.
Do we did it just me? Like, did I grow up under a rock or did everyone learn this in school? Like, how do I didn't know that
Right.
about this conscious and subconscious mind. I didn't know that you can dream something illogical. I
Right.
thought you should set a logical goal. How can I dream an illogical goal?
Sure.
So that was kind of where I transitioned into coaching as a long way of sharing the journey into coaching. But that was my first introduction. Once I discovered positive psychology and the power of the mind, I I couldn't unlearn that. And I decided to go in full.
It seems to me that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you really got into really asking yourself powerful questions, right? Because a lot of people are affirmations. I believe in affirmations, right? But I also believe that our human minds are programmed to be problem solvers, right? So that's why my clients, they do their affirmations, but they also come up with powerful questions to ask themselves every day, because everything's a question. You're nodding your head right now, right? And your mind's actually saying, do I want to nod my head or not? But you talked about the subconscious, right? So the powerful questions get the subconscious mind going. So what kind of like powerful questions do you think really the one you ask yourself throughout your life is the one that you're still yet to answer?
Ooh, that's a good question. I will say that this question, I have a current answer for today,
Right.
and I'm aware that I never know all, and I'm
Right.
open to discovering that it may change. But the biggest question, and the biggest question is,
Is
who am I?
yeah, I love
Who
that.
who who am I really? Not
Sure.
who should I be? Who do my parents think I should be? Who do my friends? Who does society? How am I supposed to show up? What should I value? Underneath all of that, like, who really am I and why am I here?
I love that.
So
And
real deep, going in deep.
no, without a doubt. I mean, but that's why you're successful. And that's why I would come to you and say, hey, listen, we need to talk. I need to find out who I am a little bit. And if you haven't, at your success, found out, then you're the right person to really help me get there. So then what do you think, Nicole, makes a great coach?
Actually, I love the way that you've introduced this concept of questions.
Okay.
Because I believe a great coach is one who is going to help you uncover who you are in that as an example, but you are going to be the one who's going to uncover the answers to your challenges, the solutions, and a coach will help you. So a good coach will ask questions, will peel back a layer. One of my favorite coaching questions, I'm sure you use it either consciously or unconsciously,
Yeah.
is, and what else?
Yes.
The awe question. And what
Yeah.
else? And what
Yeah.
else? And what else? It's fourth time down, fifth time down that you really
Right.
help someone find those deeper answers. So
I love that. Just keep on digging and digging. And like, I can, like, obviously listening with all your senses, not just your ears. Really, I call it listening with my neck, because when I'm coaching, I'm really kind of leaning in and picking up all of their stuff. And also, it sounds to me like you might coach from a place of neutrality. Meaning, and what I mean by that is clients that I'm blessed to coach in person, I go out to their car and I put them in the driver's seat, right? And I say, okay, see this rearview mirror? It's small for a reason. That's your past. That's therapy. You need help there. That's therapy, right? And it's a great place to learn from, great place to visit here and there. But this dashboard in your car or the windshield, this is huge. It's scary. Like, where are we going? But since 2011-ish or so, they've been putting this thing on the console called the GPS. That's what it's like, I can't buckle your seatbelt if you choose to, start your car and drive, but you plug into where we're going through the questions that I'm going to ask you, because that's the GPS is like, where are we going? And then they'll help you get there. I love that. I just can see you really coaching from a place of neutrality. Is that true?
absolutely. Yeah, that's actually probably one of my biggest philosophies is open to everything, attached to nothing, non-judgment. I don't know your life and your past, and I can't judge or answer your questions for you. I may not have the right solution for you. I may have other clients who've had similar experiences, and if you're open, I can provide some thoughts or ideas that maybe work for them, and you have to be the one to decide. But yeah, neutrality is a beautiful place to be, and for people to feel that from you, right? To truly feel that you're not just trying to whatever. It's not your agenda. It's not the coach's agenda.
I love that. And you're a true coach. The reason why I ask that is I find out there's a lot of people, and we're getting flooded in this world with coaches. Everyone's a coach, right? And I get it. That's fine. It's great. Great. I love what I do. I don't work a day in my life, all those other cliches, but it's like, I'm not a consultant, right? Like, sometimes if it has to do with real estate, because I have been a real estate broker for 28 years and I do know it, I invest in real estate, I can put on my consultant hat and help people that want to level up there. But if I tell you, if I'm coaching you and I'm like, go do this, and you're like, Fergie, that didn't work. I suck, right? So the coach will help you get there through the questions that they ask. I love it. I can just see you doing that. So then let's say you're in a discovery session. Do you work one-on-one with clients?
I
Okay.
work with some clients one-on-one as well as quite a
Group.
few in group format.
Love it. Love it. So let's say you're in discovery session, making sure you're the right horse for the course, the right coach. What is some of your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, that maybe helps them kind of identify that initial blind spot?
Ooh, to be honest, one of my biggest gifts, I would say, which I've practiced, is to listen to the words that they use. As soon as I hear the words, I can't because I've tried that. I should do this. It is an indication of a deeper belief, right? Or a hesitation, if they're like, I want to do this thing, but you can just hear you mentioned it, right? It's not just the words they say, but their body language, their tone, the words are powerful.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things. And when I hear their words and what their challenges are, we can assess is it the right fit or not the right fit? And to your point, there are a lot of coaches and there's some that I really trust that may be a better fit if depending on their need. So
thank you for saying that, as well as that it caught me in mid sip of my mushroom coffee. It's like you're willing to hand them off to a coach to be a better fit. I love that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So maybe you're still in this discovery conversation. Is there any good question, Nicole, that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a good question. I do like to know, I would like them to know my style, my personality. Are they open to receiving feedback? Are they not open to receiving feedback? So kind of asking me, I mean, I may share that depending on how far we go in the conversation.
Sure.
But I do think as a client, because I think as coaches, we also need coaches. As a client, I like to know the style of the coach.
Yes.
What is the process they use? What are their style? And even
what's expected of me as the client, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So what's your strengths with coaching?
You shared a few of them, I would say. I think one of my biggest strengths is always knowing what's inside of them is not necessarily reflected in what is their external results, as an example.
Yes.
The words they're saying, the experience they're having, the circumstance they're currently in is absolutely not a reflection of their potential.
Yes.
I like to say like that you will give up on yourself much sooner than I would ever give up on you. And I don't want you to give up on yourself. Yeah. I want you to believe in yourself as much as I do. And there's nothing that you could do that would make me believe that you're not a completely capable soul that has unlimited potential.
Wow, I appreciate those.
Cheerleader on the sidelines, right? You just know that you're never gonna. That doesn't mean that behavior and actions won't hurt you. Like you may, not as a client, you may do things that are not in your best interest. Right. And we could talk about those, but I won't judge you as this human in that scenario.
No, that's transparent. How about weaknesses? Yeah.
What are my weaknesses?
Yeah, with
maybe
coaching.
It's the same thing. Maybe it's the same. I never give up on you.
Right. Yeah, I can be. I don't know. So bad for them. You want so bad for them. And I can appreciate that as well. Yeah. I love it.
That actually, that was a weakness. I think that's actually a good example. I've moved through that a lot more because of what I shared a little earlier, open but unattached. Yes. Whereas when I was earlier in my coaching, I was open and attached. Yes. And I wanted it so much for them that I would do too much. I would help too much. And now I'm like not enabling them to truly step into their power. So about 8 years ago, when I was first into that, getting into coaching 8-9 years ago, I caught myself with that habit of, let me just help you. I want to help you so much. I'll do it for you. No. That is not how you're going to allow someone to truly step in to who they really are and who they're meant to be. So
yeah, if you like it, I'm blessed to coach professional athletes, a couple of Major League Baseball players. I mean, the coach can tell you and it can help you get there, but you're the one that's got to take the at bat. And I'm saying you're the one that's got to really do this. I love you want for them so much, but they really want to step up. You got to hold that mirror and say, this isn't exactly who you are. There's more to it than this. It's beautiful. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay.
I love it. It's been a while.
Yes. You can't believe next year is going to be 40 years old. It's insane. I'm 52, so I would have made me like 12 when it came out. So
It might have been 2.
nice. So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly, right?
Mhm.
Let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Nicole. I don't know if it's Kernohan yet, but the 22-year-old Nicole. And not so much to change anything. You lived challenges, but you blasted through them. You learned so much from them. But what kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her to maybe help her maybe shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker? Not so much with the MS, but with the mindset side of things.
Oh my, Scott. So I appreciate that question. And I also appreciate your wording of it. I don't wish it to have been different.
No way. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm actually referring to even past MS, more like my corporate career, my entrepreneurial
Sure.
journey. I don't wish it to be different. However, there were some major struggles that if I knew what I know now,
Right.
I wouldn't have repeated. So one of them being understanding what you truly want. So when I opened my retail health business, I thought that was my purpose. But what I realized later was it was actually logical. Now, for most people, leaving corporate, opening a business seems illogical if that's not in their background. But as I mentioned, my parents were entrepreneurs. They owned retail businesses in shopping malls. I opened a different type of business. It was health business. They had fast food, but it was very logical. It was logical. I had all this business experience, business education. I'd grown up with this. I knew how to run. It was a franchise model. I knew how to run a franchise model. So I built that dream thinking it was my life's purpose. But now that I know what I know now, it was actually, I picked my goal because I could connect the dots to it.
Yes.
Instead of picking, what do I truly want? Who am I really? And what am I meant to do? Even though I cannot connect all the dots yet. And the willingness to, I wouldn't have opened that business because I value having flexible time. It was open 7 days a week. There's things that I value that were not in alignment with it, but at the time it seemed like it was a logical next step.
When I was in the military, I did multiple deployments and tours to Iraq and everything. And we had a lot of downtime, right? So we'd work out. So when I got out of the military, it was like, I'm going to be a personal trainer and that's it, man, because that's what I knew, right? But as it kind of moved forward, more things came into light of what I was really meant to do. Same thing. Like, again, you're like my little sister from another mister, man. Like I'm telling you.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
with
crazy.
Martial arts background as well.
So how does Nicole want her dash remembered? That little line in between her incarnation date and her expiration date. Hopefully it's way down the road, your life date and death date. How do you want your dash remembered?
I want my dash remembered as being a sunshine. It took me a while to accept that word because it seemed the academic part of me was like, that's so fluffy. And I'm just honest with who I am. And I love being a positive light that by others just being in my presence, I hope that it lifts them up.
That's awesome.
Even without words and even without. So it took me a while to feel confident enough to even say that out loud. Because I used to think, oh man, I'm annoying. I'm so positive all the time. And I'm petite. So I'm only 5 feet tall, not 6'1" or 6'2".
Yeah, but I see you jacking some iron there, man. On Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
You get
Small
after
and mighty.
You don't make excuses, you make adjustments, and that's amazing, man. That is a good coach. Like someone that you can see making adjustments instead of excuses. I mean, that's the best women's basketball coach, Pat Summick, said it a little bit more bluntly: winners make excuses, losers make adjustment. Or I'm sorry, winners make adjustments, losers make excuses. Let's turn that around. But no, and I respect that. So what do you think then, Nicole, people might misunderstand the most about you?
Actually, I know some of what people have
You're like, I know.
by people telling me, misunderstanding my positivity as like not being real. So, I mean, I don't experience this, hopefully not on a regular basis, but since you asked the question, I know I have experienced thinking it's not authentic. Like you can't possibly be positive, Nicole.
Yeah.
And what you just said, Scott, is why I'm positive all the time. I don't have a bad day. I might have a bad hour. I might have a bad moment.
We all do, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But the reason I don't have a bad day is because when something happens to me,
Yeah.
I can quickly, I might feel sad or frustrated for a moment. I'm human.
You better.
And I would never ask someone to not express all of their emotions.
Sure.
And I can quickly say, how is this happening for me? Or where is there an opportunity to shift? So when someone sees me out in the world, they think you can't possibly be positive all the time. Life can't be perfect. It is not perfect. And I choose to not have a bad day. If I didn't, wasn't intentional, it could, there are major challenges in life. I've had many, and I still do. It's just, I have trained myself. It's through practice and repetition.
Yes. Reps.
To be able to shift that perspective.
You put the reps in, you choose to do something. And even at my age, again, I'm 52 years old, but I'm on the mats with 25-year-olds 5 mornings a week wanting to strangle me to death. And when I go to bed at night, I have a protocol that the first 90 minutes is mine, man. I got cold plunge that I have out on my patio that it must be done. I have my non-negotiables. And once I know that I can get through those, most of my days are what I want them to be because I choose that. But I have bad days all the time. Like, Fergie, you ever piss? I'm like, hell yeah. I get pissed a lot, man. I have the conversation is what kind of problem is this for me to solve? And that's it. That's beautiful. So, Nicole, what is your definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived is don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
Be who you really are. Be authentic.
Love it.
When you're trying to be someone you're not, or you're showing up, you're going, like if I came on this podcast and I'm showing up as this one person, but that's not who I really was.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
It
that's
is.
Not a life well lived. That's a life where I'm like, I'm exhausted at the end of the day because I was just being someone I'm not all day. Just be willing to figure out who you are, show up as who you are, and do not sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff, which is the name of the book.
Yeah.
But
I say, I regurgitate everything is a regurgitation, right? But regurgitate from the year 2000. I think there's a movie, one of Ryan Reynolds, The Heartthrob Today, whatnot. But like one of his first movies was Van Wilder. And he says to Tara Reid in the movie, is like, don't take life too seriously. We're not making it out alive. And I was like, that hit home in the year 2000. I've lived my life that way. And it's so true. We all have born with a death sentence, right? It's like, dude, so why even sweat the small stuff? Like you said.
Yeah. I heard another quote is most people are tiptoeing through life trying to make it safely to death.
Right. That's awesome. That's so true. I'm going to steal that one
just
too.
Live. Be who you are.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Nicole, we'll definitely meet up somewhere in the coaching realm. And I hope we do. And hopefully we can grab a coffee or something. We can talk about some of these questions, 15, 20 minutes. But today you got 5 seconds with no explanations. And I promise you they can all be answered that way. Do you need to go do a kata to get in mindset here or anything like that? You're good?
Just a deep breath. That's all we need. One breath.
All right, let's level up. Nicole, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Find people. It's not who, it's who knows you.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I watch my words. Yes. Don't say I should. I don't say I can't. I watch my words. And one of the biggest words is I choose.
Yes. So you see me kind of walking down the street or maybe at an event. You're like, man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book might you hand me that really has leveled you up?
Oh, so many. One of the biggest ones is a little deeper. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yes. Yeah. By Maxwell Maltz, right?
Maxwell Maltz.
Absolutely.
It's like this idea of identity, really figuring out the self-image side of who you really are.
And Matt Fury took over the company and I had him on just recently as well. Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah. He does the audiobook version, I think.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Big smile with teeth.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Nikki, not a lot.
Gotcha. Any hidden talent and or superpower that you have that nobody really knows about until now?
Yeah, I'm a black belt in karate, but because I'm so petite, it's real sneaky.
It is sneaky. Yeah, love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Love it. Headline for your life?
You are enough.
Love it. You buy into any superstitions at all?
No.
Me neither.
I believe in fate, but in some capacities, but you have the control. You have some control over that as well.
Love it. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Caramel.
Beautiful. There's a sandwich called the Sneaky Nicky. Build that sandwich for me. What's on it?
Gluten-free bread.
Okay. There you
tomatoes, lettuce, a slice of organic grilled chicken, and hummus.
Ooh, sounds great. Make it up. So, favorite charity and or organization like to give your time and or money to?
I like to support teens in mental health.
Good for you. That's awesome.
There's some local support groups here, but just that's an area I want to help them shift when they're still young.
Yes, as Whitney Houston said, their future, right? Right? So best decade of music, and you can elaborate on this one: 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
90s.
90s.
That's because that was the time I was probably like 16. That's the time of, I think I had a Green Day and some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like a nostalgic time of life.
I'm doing the math from what you said, the Back to the Future. So you graduated right around 2000, 99, 2000? Nice. Nice, right at the turn of the century. So, Nicole, how can we find you, my friend?
So you can find me at NicoleKernohan.com as well as KeepElevated.com.
KeepElevated.com.
That is the company that I'm a partner with, Tony Child. And then if they want to reach out directly, you can email me as well.
Excellent. And Kernohan is Kernohan out there, squad. And it's and also Keep Elevated. They have a fantastic website. I'm actually kind of browsing through it right now as we're kind of talking. It's fantastic. And you also are offering our squad out there a digital version of your abundance journal. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the fundamental differences between those who are highly successful in all areas of life versus those who aren't. It's not just education. It's not just experience. It's a way of thinking, right? We've talked a bit about this throughout the show, thinking of solutions, thinking best case scenario, looking for things on the abundance in an abundant perspective, in an open-mindedness. So it's a journal to kind of help guide through some questions and concepts to help shift you into more of an abundant perspective.
Fantastic. They can also purchase the physical copy on your website, correct? Awesome.
Not on our website, but they can reach out directly.
Oh, really? Okay. So you can reach out. Beautiful. I'll put your email address in the show notes if that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. It's Nicole at Keep Elevated. It's
awesome. Well. So you got also like maybe possibly offering, or you are offering like a 30 second strategy. No, 30-minute strategy call.
Absolutely. Awesome. I would love to. No, I'd love to do that. It's one of my favorite experiences is to have that initial conversation to wake someone up a little bit, like to see something that they didn't see before, to help them feel their potential a bit more clearly, or answer some questions of maybe why they're stuck. So 30 minutes. It's pretty short and sweet. We'll do a strategy session, but I don't offer that free very often for those who know me. I appreciate
it. I twisted her arm a little bit. She promised not to do any of those moves on me and whatnot, and to give it away 30-minute half hour of power with my good friend Nicole. Nicole, if you could do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action.
I love Wayne Dyer's quote. This is, again, kind of going a little deep for us, is be a person who is open to everything and attached to nothing.
Yes.
And that is a perspective. It doesn't mean that you're not working towards goals and achieving incredible things.
Yes.
It means that you're not attached to them.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen in the time that you expect, you can still feel worthy. You can still get back up. You can still keep going. Those who have made it to the greats have fallen down so many times.
Fail forward, baby.
Right? We all have. Like, it's inevitable. So if you can be open and unattached and say, okay, that method didn't work.
Sure.
That method failed. I'm not a failure. I'll try another method. I'm still right. And so just being open to shifting and being unattached to your results and not allowing that to reflect.
That's awesome. And Squad, we just had, sorry it took you a little longer than usual, Squad, but I got really ingrained in my good friend here, Nicole, who she got MS at a really young age. And she, at that moment, she really realized that she was different than others. And what her parents really instilled with her is that there's really no problems, there's opportunities. And she took that, even though her parents loved on her and they were thinking she was a little crazy. She's like that crab crawling out of the bucket and people wanting to pull her back into safety. But she's like, F that, man. I'm getting out of here. You taught me how to do this. I'm getting out of here and I'm going to do it. And she's a coach that will help you uncover who you are. And she's going to do that with some really powerful questions. So when you talk to Nicole, be ready to answer some awesome questions, because she's really going to be digging in, knowing that who you think you are is not who you really are with your potential. She's a coach that really, again, listens with her neck. There's a lot of words that you're going to say. She's not going to just pick up on the words. She's going to pick up on your mannerisms. She's going to really lean in and almost be a mirror to you to really help you find those solutions and find that GPS route that's going to get you going. And if you're starting to work with a coach, whether it's Nicole, which we hope it is, but really find out their personality and if they're going to be open to feedback from you as the client. A lot of coaches out there, I love you all, but you can get really egotistical and you're not open to that feedback. A friend of mine like Nicole here, she is open. And she wants you to really kind of understand what you truly want. You might not know it at a young age, but really keep working forward to what you really want. And if you don't know, there are people out there that can help. You might think there are people out there along the way that you can ask. Like my good friend Leah Woodford would say, get your asking gear, get out there. And if not, just let me make a warm introduction to my good friend Nicole, who is full of sunshine. She's honest. She pays it forward. She's somebody that's planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of. And what I notice a lot is she's out there doing it for the intention, not the attention. She's not like, look at me, even though she's a little 5-foot spitfire, like throwing up some awesome weight, but she's not out there bragging about it. She's out there showing you, hey, this is me. I can do it. And so can you. She wants you to not sweat the small stuff. She said there's a lot of people, she used a quote, this like I use quotes, I regurgitate everything, that so many people are tiptoeing through life just to get to death. And I want you to just plow through. Like Wayne Dyer said, who I was blessed to meet when I was young, and I didn't even know I was meeting an icon, be open to everything and attached to nothing. And that's what my good friend Nicole does. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's absolutely stunning. She's earned her varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. You're such a go-giver. Thank you so much for coming on. I absolutely love your guts.
Thank you so much, Scott. That was awesome.
Yay. Chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.